Well, let's begin this news edition with our Mail Today exclusive. Even as the curious case of Indrani Mukherjee continues to baffle the nation, a girl studying in St. Stephen's College in the capital has moved court, alleging that her mother has sexually assaulted her several times over. The complainant in question told Mail Today that she was subject to mental and physical torture since childhood. She says that only when she reached senior school did she begin to comprehend what had happened to her. She revealed that her mother used to grope her, and when she resisted, she accused her of sleeping around with men. When she did finally muster the courage to approach the police, she was shooed away from 2 police stations. She says that she had to seek the police commissioner's intervention. The complainant is also facing some legal hurdles. The magistrate has adjourned the matter and asked the complainant to explain how a complaint filed against her mother under provision of Prevention of Women in Domestic Violence Act 2005 is maintainable when there is no provision for making the mother a respondent under the Act. She's now left her home and is staying with her friend. She also alleges that her mother is sending her abusive text messages even since she left home. All right, I would like to connect to Deepika Bhardwaj, documentary filmmaker. She is with us for more details on that story. Deepika, what do you make of a case like that which has just surfaced?
Preeti, what I would like to mention over here is, though the Act, the Prevention of Domestic Violence Act on women says women, a lot of women are actually excluded from the Act if they are subjected to domestic violence, physical, emotional, mental, or any kinds. I mean,
right.
The respondent over here can be a man, and though in a domestic relationship, it is pretty evident that anybody can be abusive to anybody. So if we are talking about protection of women over here, I think the ambit should be extended to any kind of woman.
Right.
Over here, right now, the complainant can be a married woman or a live-in partner. There have been very few cases where a mother-in-law was able to move against her daughter-in-law when she was subjected to violence. But majorly it is meant for wives. And while I was listening to you to the story, it's quite appalling that the magistrate would not like to listen to a complaint like that, because in my experience, even unsubstantiated allegations by wives, when they level the same on their in-laws, are accepted and not even investigated. So it's quite strange that when the woman has all the evidences, she would not be heard.
All right. You know, Deepika, do stay with me because we are joined by Dr. Kiran Bedi at this juncture. Dr. Bedi, what do you make of this young girl? Of course, a lot depends on the fact that she's not even an adult yet. She's not attained 18 years of age. But what do you reckon that no police station actually took her complaint? The magistrate told her to explain why her mother was liable. What do you make of all of this?
First of all, the police ought to have immediately referred this case to the domestic violence court. And this is my experience. In this case, the police ought to have referred it straight away to domestic violence court. Secondly, in my understanding, domestic violence court should have given the mother a hearing immediately, called for a hearing of the mother immediately. The court, nothing bars the court from calling both the parties. In domestic violence court, I've noticed, they have a very strong mediating role, because domestic violence still is a civil offense. And unless the enforcement of a protection order comes, the police need not come in. So if the girl has gone to the police could have immediately referred the matter to domestic violence court. Domestic violence court could take the cognizance, call the mother, and bring in the mediators. And that is how you get... So it is a case of domestic violence. And the basic only factor which under the Domestic Violence Act is that the complainant should be a woman. In this case, she's a woman. She's a girl.
Deepika, do you concur with Dr. Bedi?
No, I would not really concur with her, because the Act, as I said earlier, makes the respondent, the Act defines that the respondent has to be a man or his family. So it is very important for a complainant to include a man and his family. So like I said earlier, there have been several cases where even mothers-in-law who have been tortured, subjected to violence, their complaints have not been registered. So the Act does not, in larger ambit, defines any woman per se.
Dr. Bedi, that's where it's coming down to, because there's a fair bit of people who go ahead and suggest that it is a biased law and leads to the misuse of Section 498A.
This is not under 498A. This is a civil matter under Domestic Violence Act. And I was hearing Deepika. I'm sorry, I do not know who Deepika is.
I'll tell you, ma'am. She's a documentary filmmaker who's presently working on the documentary on the misuse of certain laws.
That's fine. Deepika certainly has a right to her own view, and she has obviously had her own valuable experience. I would say that the court interpretations have varied. That is why I was coming to. So it varies court to court. There have been many instances where courts have taken this as domestic violence per se and brought the mother. There's no illegality where if the mother is called to find out what the girl is saying, what has she to say. Now, hearing both sides is the prerogative of the Domestic Violence Act court, called the Domestic Violence Court, the Act courts. Therefore, it provides for a mediation. It provides for not a one-sided viewpoint. I've seen many courts doing this, which is why I'm speaking from this kind of experience.
Right. Dr. Bedi, what do you reckon that can be done in this particular case?
It is not at all complex. In fact, this is easily resolvable. The court police should refer the matter to domestic violence court. It's still a civil and a mediation matter. And the court could call the mother, summon the mother, bring in a mediation team, hear both sides, and then pass an order which is let's say advisory, which has a legal backing, and it's like even a protection order or a direction. And if the direction is not followed or if it's violated, you could come to the second stage. At the moment, I think it's very, very, it is open to resolution and solutions open. The severity of the matter will depend only on the report and result of the mediation team.
All right. Appreciate you joining us, Dr. Bedi. Thank you, Deepika, for joining us. We're going to keep coming back to you for more on that story. But what I'm going to do is, before we move on, I want to cut across to Sneha Agarwal. She's the one who reported this story on our sister concern Mail Today. She's joining us live right now. Sneha, would you give us details in this particular story and especially the fallout of it right now? Where is the girl? Considering she's not attained adulthood yet, this will lead to a fair bit of legal hassles as well. All right, we seem to be having a problem with Sneha. We're going to try and re-establish that connect. We're going to go back to her after we try and do that. What we will do in the meanwhile is we'll move on in this news bulletin. All right, what I've been told by my producers, we're going to try and connect once again to Sneha Agarwal. She's the one who's reported on the story. She's joining us from the newsroom. If we've established connect with her. Sneha, the question I want to ask you is, considering that this girl in question still is not an adult, there's a fair bit of legal hurdles that will come in her way. Can you give us details right now? And, you've spoken to the girl, what is her state of mind? Give us details.
The girl is extremely traumatized because you don't hear cases where the mother herself is actually sexually assaulting the girl. And what traumatizes her experience further is that even the police did not believe her and shooed her away till she sought commissioner's help.
All right, Sneha, have you been able to, because I know you've been talking to this girl in question, have you been able to also establish contact with her mother? What does her mother have to say? Because it is important in such sensitive cases like this to get both sides of the opinion as established and corroborated by Dr. Bedi.
Right. We spoke to the mother. The mother said that everything is fine and we have been misinformed. So everything is fine between her and the daughter.
Is the girl in question staying with her parents?
No, not anymore. She has moved to a different place. She's staying with her friends at the moment.
All right. And we do know that this girl is not an adult right now. So what is the legal outlook in this case?
So basically, the case has been filed under domestic violence, and as per the definition, the mother is not included as the term mother doesn't be the term mother is not a part of what comprises a respondent. So at the moment, the court is trying to see where they can accommodate the case under the act.
All right. Appreciate you joining us, Sneha. Sneha Agarwal, my colleague who actually broke the story on Mail Today, our sister concern. We're going to keep going back to her for more details in this story. But with that...